There comes a moment in life, usually quieter, slower, and more precious than we imagined, when we realize that our most valuable possession is not wealth, not reputation, not even time itself. It is peace. The peace of waking up without dread. The peace of choosing how you spend your days. The peace of not being dragged into the storms that no longer belong to you. And here's a truth most people realize too late. The quality of your later years depends less on what you have, and more on who you allow into your space. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to the life you fought so hard to build. Not every relationship, no matter how old, no matter how familiar, deserves to stay when it costs you your peace. As we grow older, the world around us keeps moving, faster, louder, more demanding. But within you there is a quieter world now, one that longs for stillness, for meaningful connection, and for freedom from unnecessary burdens. This stage of life, your later years, is not the time to compromise your well-being for anyone's chaos. It's not the time to shrink yourself, to carry others' unresolved problems, or to sacrifice your precious energy trying to fix what isn't yours to fix. It's your time to be fiercely selective, to protect the sanctuary of your mind, to choose presence over obligation, and to honor the life you still have ahead of you. Today, we will walk together through 6 types of people you must be cautious about living with in your later years, not out of bitterness, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom, the very wisdom Stoicism has taught us for centuries. Because who you allow into your life now can either nurture your final chapters with serenity and joy, or slowly erode them into exhaustion and regret. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." Anything less than that is a theft of the time, the spirit, and the freedom you have earned. If you are ready to guard your peace, to step into this sacred season of life with intention and dignity, stay with me until the end. Together, we will explore not just what to avoid, but how to choose courageously, live consciously, and love wisely. Because after all these years, you don't owe anyone your life. You owe it to yourself to live it, fully, freely, and fiercely. Let's begin. 1. Dream killers, those who limit you because of your age. There's a subtle kind of thief in life. They don't steal your money, they don't steal your possessions, they steal something far more precious, your belief in what's still possible. And often they do it in a way that sounds so reasonable, so well-meaning, that you barely notice the theft happening. It starts with a sentence you've heard 1,000 times. At your age, shouldn't you slow down? Maybe that dream is better left for younger folks. Isn't it too late to start something new? Their words come disguised as concern, but at the heart of them is a lie. The lie that age defines your capacity, that dreams have an expiration date, that beyond a certain point life becomes only about waiting, not creating. And if you're not careful, you start to believe them. You start editing your dreams. You shrink your ambitions to fit their limited vision of what's appropriate for someone your age. But here's the truth they don't tell you. Life after 60 is not the twilight. It's the second sunrise. It's the first time in decades when you are finally free from the pressures that once kept your true passions caged. Career expectations, raising children, building security. Now, finally now, is when you can run toward the dreams you once put on hold. Now is when the music in your soul deserves to be played louder than ever. As George Bernard Shaw wisely said, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Age isn't the enemy of dreams. Fear is. Fear disguised as advice. Fear spoken by those who stopped believing in their own possibilities long ago. Imagine if Sophia, a 72-year-old woman who always wanted to learn how to paint, had listened when her family told her she was too old for hobbies. Instead, she picked up a brush. She filled blank canvases with vibrant colors. She didn't just learn to paint, she found a new language to express the life that still burned inside her. Her story isn't rare. It's only rare among those who listen to the wrong voices. And here's what Stoicism teaches us. Your life belongs to you, not to their opinions, not to their fears. Seneca said it best. The greatest hindrance to living is the expectation of tomorrow and the waste of today. When someone tries to measure your potential by your age, they reveal more about their own limitations than yours. And you have a choice. Let their voice become your inner critic, or protect your dreams like the sacred flame they are. Ask yourself, is it really your age that's holding you back, or the belief that someone else planted in you? Because here's the reality. Your mind is still fertile ground. Your heart is still capable of wild, beautiful hope. Your hands are still strong enough to build what matters most. And if you guard your dreams from those who would kill them with realism, you'll find that the real adventure of life has only just begun. So the next time someone says you're too old for that, smile kindly, and then prove them wrong. Dream boldly, live fiercely. Because life doesn't end with age. Number 2, selfish lovers. When love turns into emotional exhaustion, there's a certain kind of relationship that wears you down quietly. It doesn't come with loud fights or obvious betrayal. No, it seeps into your life slowly, disguised as love, disguised as care. But beneath the surface, it's something else. It's a draining force. In the later years of life, when your spirit should be lighter, your heart freer, your days gentler, you cannot afford to live entangled in a relationship that feels like carrying a weight you can no longer bear. True love is not a debt to be paid, not a list of endless demands you must fulfill. True love is a sanctuary, a place of restoration, not depletion. As Khalil Gibran wisely said, love gives naught but itself and takes naught but from itself. If your love feels more like sacrifice than serenity, more like obligation than joy, it's time to ask a difficult, courageous question. Is this truly love? Or is it emotional dependency dressed as devotion? In a healthy partnership, love supports, uplifts, and frees. It doesn't keep score. It doesn't demand that you carry another's unresolved insecurities or endless needs on your back. But when love turns into a heavy chain, pulling you deeper into exhaustion, you must recognize it for what it is. A thief of your energy, a thief of your peace. Imagine Fernando, a man in his early 70s, who after a lifetime of hard work finally entered retirement, dreaming of quiet mornings, simple joys, and shared sunsets. He met someone new, full of energy and passion. At first it felt like a blessing, but slowly, demands began to pile up. More time, more money, more emotional attention. Every day, it seemed, a new crisis needed fixing. And somehow, it was always his responsibility to make everything right. Fernando realized he wasn't building a new chapter. He was being drained of the energy he had saved to enjoy life's final beautiful acts. And here's the Stoic truth. Love without freedom is not love. It's imprisonment. Seneca teaches us that the most powerful person is the one who governs themselves. And in relationships, this means never surrendering your peace for the comfort or convenience of another. You have the right to say, no more emotional debts. No more being responsible for someone else's happiness. No more sacrificing my final years to constant storms that are not mine. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. And if the person truly loves you, they will understand. They will grow alongside you, not drain you. But if your peace threatens their comfort, if your boundaries expose their selfishness, then perhaps it was never about love to begin with. It was about control. You owe no one your well-being. You owe no one your energy at the cost of your joy. You owe only yourself the gift of living these years in dignity, freedom, and quiet strength. If a relationship costs you your health, your happiness, your soul's lightness, it's too expensive. So ask yourself honestly, do I feel more alive or more exhausted around this person? Do I feel supported or drained? Do I still recognize my own reflection? Or have I become a shadow of who I used to be? If the answers hurt, listen carefully, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself, without anger, without bitterness, just with unwavering love for your own soul. You deserve a love that gives, not takes. You deserve a partnership where peace flows as naturally as breath, and you have the right, no matter your age, to walk away from anything that demands your life in pieces. This is your time. Guard it fiercely, love wisely, live freely. Number 3, dependent adult children. When love becomes a cage for you, care and for them, there's a sacred joy in raising children. Watching them grow, stumble, rise, and eventually forge their own paths is one of life's greatest privileges. But what happens when the journey to independence stalls? What happens when your grown children continue to lean on you, emotionally, financially, or even physically, long after they should have stood on their own? It's a difficult truth to face. Sometimes love that refuses to let go becomes a chain that binds both of you. You tell yourself, I'm just helping. It's normal to still support them. They need me. And maybe they do, sometimes. But if the help becomes permanent, if you find yourself constantly carrying the weight of their unresolved lives, then you're no longer helping. You're enabling, and you are paying for it with your time, your energy, your freedom. Marcus Aurelius said it best: each of us is responsible for our own lives. And this truth applies even, especially, to your children. By continuing to rescue them, you inadvertently keep them stuck. By sacrificing your independence, you rob them of learning how to build theirs. Imagine Julia, a 68-year-old mother with 2 grown children still living at home. They worked, they were capable, and yet they continued to rely on her for bills, for emotional support, for solving every crisis. At first, Julia thought it was just temporary, but months turned into years, and quietly, a bitter truth crept in. She was living their lives for them, while her own dreams, travel, painting, friendships, wilted on the vine. And the worst part, her children weren't thriving. They were drifting, dependent, resentful, directionless. It took a painful but necessary realization for Julia to reclaim her life. Helping them wasn't love anymore. It was fear. Fear of letting go. Fear of being seen as selfish. Fear of living for herself. But here's what Stoicism teaches. True love doesn't mean carrying someone else's life. It means giving them the courage and responsibility to carry it themselves. So Julia set boundaries, firm but loving. She told her children, I love you enough to trust that you can stand without me holding you up. It wasn't easy. There were tears, there was resistance, but over time something extraordinary happened. Her children found jobs they cared about. They moved out. They stumbled, yes, but they grew. And Julia? She found her own life again. Rich, peaceful, finally hers. If you find yourself trapped in the role of eternal caretaker, ask yourself, is this truly helping? Or is it preventing growth? Am I acting from love or from guilt and fear? Because real love empowers. It doesn't imprison. It's time to draw the line. Not with cruelty, but with clarity. The Stoics understood that setting boundaries is not selfishness. It's wisdom. You honor yourself and you honor your children's strength by refusing to carry what they must learn to bear. Remember, your later years are not meant to be spent solving problems that aren't yours anymore. They are meant to be lived in freedom, exploration, and joy. You raised your children to fly. Now you must let them rise, let yourself breathe. Because your life, at every stage, is yours to live fully, not to postpone endlessly for others. And sometimes, the greatest gift you can give the ones you love is the space to grow. And the example of a life lived bravely, freely, and well. Number 4, chronic complainers and pessimists. Protect your inner world from their storms. There's an invisible contagion that spreads faster than any illness, and its symptoms are just as devastating. Negativity. Spend enough time around someone who constantly complains, criticizes, and sees only the worst in life, and soon their storm clouds start to gather over your own mind. You may not notice it at first. A sigh here, a cynical comment there, but slowly, quietly, your spirit begins to bend under the weight of someone else's worldview. What you fought so hard to build, your peace, your optimism, your gratitude, begins to erode. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus warned us, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. But what he didn't add, and what you must realize, is that sometimes other people's opinions, other people's negativity, can invade your mind if you leave your door wide open. Negativity is contagious. Pessimism is infectious. And if you live with someone who constantly spreads it, you will eventually carry a burden that was never yours to bear. Imagine Pedro, a 66-year-old man who decided to share a home with an old friend during retirement. He envisioned companionship, laughter, perhaps late-night conversations about old times. But instead, he found himself drowning in a sea of complaints about the government, about the neighbors, about the weather, about life itself. Every day, a new grievance. Every day, the same gloom. Pedro, an optimist by nature, tried to lift his friend's spirits at first. He suggested gratitude journals, daily walks, focusing on the good. But the tide of negativity was relentless, and before long, Pedro realized that he wasn't helping. He was sinking. The truth is simple, but harsh. You cannot heal someone who refuses to let go of their bitterness. You can only protect yourself from drowning in it. And that protection, that fierce guardianship of your mental peace, is not selfish. It's survival. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. You cannot control another person's attitude. You cannot force them to see the beauty in life. But you can control what you expose yourself to. You can control the energy you allow into your sacred, hard-earned peace. Ask yourself, does this person leave me feeling lighter or heavier? Does spending time with them nourish my spirit or drain it? Do I recognize myself? Or am I slowly becoming a reflection of their cynicism? If you recognize the signs, you must act with clarity and courage. It might mean setting firm boundaries, limiting your conversations, redirecting negative topics, or politely exiting interactions that spiral into endless complaint. It might mean choosing to physically distance yourself if the negativity is overwhelming. And always, always, it means surrounding yourself intentionally with sources of positivity, inspiration, and growth. A simple walk in nature. Time spent with people who see possibilities, not just problems. Books, music, practices that lift your spirit and remind you of the wonder still alive in the world. Gratitude, too, becomes your shield. Each day, list the small, sacred gifts life offers: a warm cup of tea, a kind smile, a quiet moment of stillness. These are your anchors against the tides of bitterness. Remember this: you are not obligated to live in someone else's storm. You are allowed to choose peace. You are allowed to choose joy. You are allowed to protect the beautiful, flourishing garden of your mind from the weeds of someone else's despair. As Buddha said, you will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger. The same holds true for negativity. If you absorb it, it will poison your heart. If you resist it, you will keep your heart clear, strong, and ready to savor the life that still unfolds before you. This is your time. Protect it fiercely. Choose your environment wisely, because your peace, your sacred, hard-earned peace, is worth far more. Number 5. Emotional vampires. How to protect your energy and reclaim your peace. Some battles in life are loud and obvious, but others are quieter, more subtle, and often far more dangerous. One of the quietest threats you face, especially in your later years, is not illness, not poverty, not loneliness. It's the slow, invisible draining of your emotional energy by people who are not even aware of the damage they cause. They are emotional vampires. And if you do not recognize them in time, they will leave you exhausted, depleted, and distant from your own life force. Emotional vampires are not necessarily bad people. They are often wounded themselves, anxious, needy, unable to find inner stability. But the reality remains. They feed on your emotional resources without replenishing them. At first, it might seem harmless. A friend who always needs you to listen to every minor crisis. A relative who calls only to vent, never to connect. A companion whose happiness always seems to depend entirely on you. But over time, the pattern becomes clear. You are always giving. They are always taking. And little by little, you begin to feel smaller. Tired in a way sleep cannot fix. Empty without even knowing why. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But if you surround yourself with people who constantly burden your mind with their chaos, your own quality of thought, and therefore your quality of life, begins to erode. The Stoics teach us that you are responsible for your own inner citadel, your peace, your clarity, your emotional independence. And when you allow an emotional vampire unlimited access to your mind and heart, you are abandoning the very citadel you must protect. So what can you do? First, recognize the signs. Notice how you feel after interacting with someone. Do you feel uplifted or drained? Do you feel empowered or responsible for their endless problems? If the answer is the latter, it's time to act. Second, set emotional boundaries. This doesn't mean cutting people off cruelly. It means choosing yourself without guilt. It means being present when you can, but without absorbing their emotional turmoil as your own. It means learning the art of compassionate distance, listening without rescuing, caring without carrying, supporting without sacrificing yourself. Imagine your emotional energy as a sacred well. You cannot allow others to drink from it endlessly and expect to have anything left for yourself. You must guard it, replenish it, and offer it only when you choose, not when guilt demands it. Third, refuel yourself intentionally. For every draining conversation, for every emotional storm you weather, you must refill your spirit deliberately. A quiet walk in nature, time spent creating, reading, moving your body, moments of solitude where you reconnect with your own needs, desires, and dreams. Self-care is not a luxury at this stage of life. It is a survival strategy. And here's a powerful truth most people forget. It is not unkind to protect yourself from those who refuse to protect their own emotional balance. You are not their therapist. You are not their savior. You are a sovereign soul with limited time and precious energy, and you deserve to spend that energy on things that grow you, not deplete you. So ask yourself, where have I allowed my emotional resources to be drained without replenishment? What boundaries must I set to reclaim my peace? How can I love others without abandoning myself? Remember, Stoicism is not about cold detachment. It's about wise compassion. Compassion first and foremost for the life you have been given. The greatest act of love you can offer, to others and to yourself, is to stay rooted in your own strength. Not out of selfishness, but out of the sacred recognition that you are the steward of your life. No one else. Protect your peace. Guard your energy. Honor the incredible spirit that life and time has shaped within you. Because now, more than ever, this is your time to live, not to leak your life away. My number 6, caretakers who control you. How to accept help without losing your freedom. Sometimes the greatest threat to your freedom doesn't come from enemies, but from those who love you most. It comes quietly, wrapped in concern. It comes with kind smiles and reassuring words. Don't worry, we'll handle it for you. Let me make that decision. It's for your own good. And before you realize it, a precious thing is slipping away. Your sovereignty over your own life. In our later years, it's natural that family members, especially children, want to step in, to help, to protect. Their intentions often come from love, from fear of seeing you struggle. But here's the danger. There's a fine line between offering support and seizing control. And once crossed, it quietly shifts you from being the author of your life to merely a character in someone else's story. The Stoics teach us that freedom is not given. It is preserved through constant awareness and courage. Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. That mastery doesn't end with age. In fact, it becomes even more sacred. Imagine Helen, a vibrant woman in her late 60s. After a small health scare, her children became hypervigilant. At first, she appreciated their help. Rides to appointments, organizing her medication. But soon, decisions about her finances, her travel plans, even her daily schedule were made without her. They called it care. Helen began to call it invisible chains. She missed the days when she chose for herself, even in small things, what book to read, where to walk, what to dream of next. She realized something vital. A life without choice is not a life fully lived, no matter how safe it is. You must remember, accepting help is wise. Surrendering your authority over your own existence is not. So, what can you do? First, recognize the subtle signs of control. Are decisions being made about your life without your full consent? Are you being treated like a fragile object, not a capable human being? Are your desires and opinions quietly dismissed for your own good? Second, reclaim your voice. It's not ungrateful to say, thank you for caring, but I still need to make my own choices. It's not selfish to insist, I appreciate your help, but please involve me in the decisions that shape my life. In fact, it's an act of profound love. Love for your life, your dignity, and your right to self-determination. Third, set boundaries with grace. Explain to your family or caretakers that you welcome support, but only in a way that respects your autonomy. Propose a partnership, not a dictatorship. Invite them into conversations, not decisions made behind closed doors. It's possible to accept help without surrendering your will. And finally, trust yourself. You have navigated a lifetime of joys, losses, risks, and triumphs. You possess a wisdom no one else can replicate. Your choices, even your mistakes, are part of your sacred journey. Do not let fear, yours or theirs, rob you of the right to keep walking your path with your own 2 feet. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And living, truly living, means owning your choices to the very end. This is your time. You have earned the right to shape these years according to your own spirit, not to someone else's version of what's best. Accept help with gratitude, but never forget you are the captain of your soul. Hold the wheel firmly, sail your own course. Live the rest of your days not managed, but magnificently alive. As we step into the later chapters of life, something becomes crystal clear. Peace is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. You have spent decades building your character, your wisdom, your resilience. Now is the time to fiercely protect the sanctuary of your mind, your energy, and your freedom. Throughout this journey, we explored 6 types of people you must be cautious about living with. Those who crush your dreams by reminding you of your age. Lovers who drain your spirit with selfish demands. Adult children who stay dependent and hold you back. Chronic complainers and pessimists who cloud your vision. Emotional vampires who drain your energy. Caretakers who, out of love or fear, slowly erode your independence. And here's the heart of the lesson. You are not obligated to sacrifice your life for the comfort of others. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control what we allow into our lives. We can control the boundaries we set. We can control how fiercely we guard our precious peace. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This is not selfishness, it is wisdom. It is choosing a life of clarity, dignity, and serenity over a life of quiet resentment and hidden exhaustion. So how can you apply these truths practically? First, reflect honestly on your current relationships. Ask yourself, does this person help me grow? or weigh me down? Do I feel lighter after spending time with them, or heavier? Am I choosing them out of love, or out of guilt, habit, or fear? Second, set clear emotional boundaries. Remember, setting boundaries is not rejecting others. It's respecting yourself. It's saying, I love you, and I love myself enough to choose peace. Third, cultivate an environment of growth and joy. Seek out relationships that challenge you to expand, not shrink. Surround yourself with people who see possibilities, not just problems. Fourth, embrace solitude when necessary. Being alone is not the enemy. Loneliness surrounded by draining people is far worse. Learn to savor your own company. Find richness in quiet mornings, walks in nature, books that stretch your mind, and dreams that still call to you. Fifth, reclaim your agency. No matter how much others love you, no one else is responsible for your happiness. You are the master of your own ship, even now, especially now. Because these later years are not about enduring life, they are about living it, fiercely and intentionally. You have earned the right to wake up each morning and ask, what do I choose today? Not, what does someone else demand of me? Choose peace, choose joy, choose growth, choose yourself, without apology, without guilt, without fear. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. You are still alive. You still have time. You still have dreams worth chasing, beauty worth savoring, laughter worth sharing. Protect your peace as the sacred treasure it is. Build a circle of relationships that nourish your spirit, not deplete it. Because at the end of it all, the quality of your life will not be measured by how many people surrounded you, but by how deeply, how authentically, and how freely you lived. This is your time. Live it boldly, wisely, and beautifully. If today's message sparked something inside you, don't let it fade. Hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with someone who might need this reminder too. Tell me in the comments, which lesson resonated with you the most? Remember your peace, your freedom, your life. They're yours to protect. Let's walk this path of wisdom together. See you in the next video.